This is going to be a look at the Ravens' pass game or lack thereof against the Browns in their 23-20 win in Week 7 that puts the Ravens' record at 4-3 prior to this crazy Thursday night football game down in Tampa against the Bucs. So a little bit of a digression before we get into the film. I'm going to show, I think, 16 or 18 pass plays. Maybe there's one run play in here. Really inconsistent performance by a lot of our offense. I showed the Gus Edwards film last night. I'm not sure if you guys watched it. 16 carries, 66 yards. I feel like our blocking grade at the offensive line, tight end position, even fullback would be mid C, high C, maybe a low B. I'm talking 75 to 82. Last night I judged it as like a 78 to 82. I think it should be even a little bit lower than that. I think we were inconsistent across multiple levels with the pass game. That includes Lamar. But multiple guys as well. I think Lamar was throwing the ball fine. On rewatch with the All-22, the Browns were playing a little bit more man than I thought in the broadcast, from the broadcast angle. And I thought we could have taken advantage of it a little bit more. Have some suggestions at the end, according to my opinion. I'm going to show you not every single play. Some of them will show you from the All-22, and then we'll show you the end zone angle as well. Look, obviously our passing stats are going down. I think I'm kind of not surprised given 3 of the teams we've played, though. I mean, you got the Bills, Bengals, and Giants ready for their defensive output. Those are tough games, tough teams to score on. Nobody scored 30 against any of those teams. The Bills have allowed 20 points twice, once to us and once to the Chiefs. They have an elite defense. It was raining its ass off that day. Doesn't surprise me that Lamar didn't throw the ball well, that we didn't have a great passing game that day. Not shocking. The Bengals have allowed 23 points to Pittsburgh and 26 to New Orleans. They lost the first game to Pittsburgh, and then they stormed back to win that game against the Saints last week, I think, right? Before they demolished the Falcons at home this week in Week 7. The Bengals look like they're totally alive right now. So their defense is pretty good. The Giants are 6-1. They've allowed 22 points to the Packers in a win, and they allowed 20 to the Titans in Week 1 and 20 to us at home in Week 6. Both of those were narrow wins for them. So it's not like anyone's scoring a whole lot against them. Now, the Browns are a different story, though. That's the thing that's frustrating for us as Ravens fans. We expected to do a little bit more against the Browns defense, especially when we heard that Clowney may not play, right? And then he ended up playing, and I thought he played well. He's a way better player than people give him credit for. I know his reputation coming out of college was going to be this, 15 sack a season guy, and that's not what it's turned into. But you take Jadeveon Clowney on your team, man. I really like him. Always have. I think we were hurt. I've said that in the reaction video, and I don't know how I could prove it. So it really doesn't matter if you believe it or don't, or if what I say for real. Andrews, did he look good to you? I'm going to show you the route of him against JOK, who's not a real great pass defender. He's not. He's a much better run defender than he is against the pass. And Andrews just has no burst. None. I think he gutted that one out, really. Bateman was just returning and apparently hasn't practiced this week as of Tuesday evening as I record this. So what percent was he at? I don't know. Gus was just returning. Somebody on Twitter messaged me, and I had forgot about this. I guess I was kind of negative in my Gus video about Morgan Moses, who's a guy I like. I really like Morgan Moses. I like the signing. But he's returning from an injury. I had forgotten about that. So, we had multiple guys hurt, and then you guys know what I think about Lamar. I think he's been dealing with an injury for 2-3 weeks, something like that. And maybe 2 of them, in fact. So it surprises me some of the takes, though, like Ryan Clark, a guy who's normally pretty balanced. He came down pretty hard on Lamar, and I had another person message me on Twitter who was like, hey, this is one of them situations where if Lamar had an agent, his agent could slide, to ESPN or Rex or reach out to somebody and say, hey, he's hurt. It's okay for you guys to mention that on air. Makes me, Ryan Clark could say something like, makes me wonder if Lamar is hurt as poor as he played, because Ryan Clark came down pretty hard on him, I thought, in terms of saying, you just can't play like this. After last week, talking about Lamar's interception against the Giants, which was quite bad. So I don't know if I really co-signed those things like, hey, if you had an agent, your agent could be out there and protect you, because a lot of times the things the agents and the sports media, organizations put out is BS and fake anyway. So, I kind of like that he doesn't have an agent, even though at this point I understand there's a lot of pressure and people are saying that, he's not dealing with it well and all these things. I don't know, I just trust the guy. And I think that he's like a rubber band in terms of his play, you ask me. The more he gets stretched in terms of, not producing a lot in the last 3 or 4 weeks in the pass game, I think the rubber band is going to snap and go in the other direction and hit someone really hard. It might be Tampa Bay on Thursday if we get everybody healthy. I know the fourth quarters have been bad, and we're not really going to look at the fourth quarter here in terms of Lamar's production because I don't think his fourth quarter was bad. We're going to go through some of these plays. And, I'm not trying to convince you for real of anything, whether Lamar's playing bad, playing good, but I know this throw looks damn good to me. This is an illustration of what some people have talked about. We're throwing the ball. Dude's not open when we're throwing the ball. So there's times where Lamar trusts the guys to get themselves open. He don't have this corner beat. This is man free. He don't have this corner beat at all. They got some kind of blown coverage down here between these three guys. JOK is going with Ricard out into the flats. They got two guys on Boyle, and Oliver's wide open. All right, but Lamar's already made his decision. Good. I'm glad. I don't know about you. I wish he'd throw these up to Bateman and Duvernay more often. Because those guys have ability. You guys heard my reaction video, Sunday night. I think we should be getting the ball to Duve a whole hell of a lot more. Let me know what you think. I mean, look, the arm and everything is there. The ability to throw the ball where it needs to be is there. First 3 weeks, we had 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in weeks 1 through 3. We've been very conservative for a while. That kind of aligns with, if you ask me, my theory of, Lamar being injured. I'm not a huge fan of this play, to be honest with you. I like, me personally, like this guy right here has caught third down touchdown passes. Like, run the slot fade that everyone is running against man. Teams are running it against cover 3 as well. Run the slot fade with the number 2. We've got both of these guys running this kind of like China out, whip route, whatever. And I just don't feel like we're letting a guy. Mark Andrews is our guy. He's our playmaker. It's 3rd and 3. I get it. I understand it. When has this guy not made a play when we've gone to him? So I'm not a huge fan of the route combination overall. Not going to waste time on it. For real, it is what it is. But to me, I'm talking about who it's designed to get open. Once again, it's designed to get open the tight end. And we could throw the ball to Duve here. It's tight space. There's a defender pretty close who's guarding Bateman that could get involved with it. It's not a great throw. It's not. Moving to our left, whatever. I just wish that we were running. Everybody runs the slot fade out of trips, man. There's got to be a reason why. All right, play action. And we try to hit Gus, later on here. I think you get a pretty good job by JOK on this play action. Surprise, surprise, I think you get an over route by Mark Andrews. I don't think I drew that route up real accurately, to be honest with you. So you get like this here by Andrews, Oliver coming here, and we got pressure breaking down on us. I mean, we just have guys in our face. I don't think we did a great job against this Browns front, for real. Clowney played with reckless abandon like he always does. That's him getting in there on Lamar right now. I don't think our guys play well up front. You let me know what you think. I do like that we're running some verticals with Duve. I just wish that we kind of reverse this sometimes. Like, when has Duve run this route that Andrew's running and not been open? Remember the unbelievable Colts catch last year at home that Duve had? In between like 3 players, Lamar threw it in there. Sometimes I wish we would just reverse the routes. All right, this is a 2nd and 10 on our second drive. That's another sack. The Browns are playing man on the backside of trips, and then they're playing 5 over 3 to the trip side. All right, so they're lining up in a 2-high safety look. They got 2 safeties. So it could be anything. Could be quarters, could be cover 2, whatever. And then they just roll this guy backside. Why? Because we've got Andrews as 3. They're looking at this route here, or maybe Andrews pulling it up in between the hash. They're just making us go backside to Bateman. I'm not saying Bateman's open. I'm not. But we're going to have to go to him. Duvernay. Now, if we had this to do over again, and look, I'm not one of those guys who's like, and if you are, like, you really got to correct yourself. Lamar's got to throw the ball to this guy. That's not where the read is right now. Like, that's how it works. Some of the people who, I wish I had enough money, like some of the people who tweet dumb stuff like that, I'd like send them a complimentary helmet. Tell them like, hey, put this helmet on, look to your right, 45 degrees or 30 degrees, whatever, and then tell me if you can see any freaking thing, from here on down. And even that's being generous. You can't see none of that. That's just not the way it works, even though quarterback helmets are a little wider in terms of the bars compared to other people's helmets. But yeah, could we come back to this? That would be my complaint, is why don't we come back to this later on? Because this is the second drive. Because we called them in this little like cloud cover 2 look here. You can say what you want about Ricard being here. They got to account for him. And this guy he's stepping up. Duve is open. Come back to it later on. That's coaching. And players too. And players can look at the tablet when they come off the field later on and say, hey, we're open here. Can we take a shot at this? Because I don't think 22 for the Browns is a great coverage guy, to be honest with you. Not to denigrate, other teams' players. All right, 3rd and 17. This is a scramble. We ran this route, this combination a lot, like getting one guy to the sticks and then running another guy kind of over the top. You got to get time in order for that to develop. It's 3rd and long, so we're looking for that. It's somewhat similar to the 4th down play that we hit against the Lions last year, except that was on the other side of the field. Watkins came from the right side and ran, all the way across, and then Prochet was the guy who ran the seam route and kind of he didn't really pick a defender. He just made a defender stay inside toward the hash. Somewhat similar concept here, where maybe we're looking to throw this, because I just can't imagine that that's the route we think is going to be open on 3rd and 17 at the sticks. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to pile on all of our calls because I'm not one of those people. I'm trying to be balanced. And look, there's got to be times where we throw these too. It's 3rd and 17, and you wouldn't think we're going to get the first down if we're going to throw it, but there has to be a time where we've seen, okay, none of this is open. I got to get the ball out of here. But again, Lamar's looking over here, reading something, so faulting him for not throwing the ball to this running back, which is opposite of where he is in the progression. There's a progression that's timed up with the routes. And I haven't spent a ton of time talking about that, but it's just not realistic to say, oh, the quarterback needs to throw the ball all the way over here to the right, the other side of the field, when he's operating under a progression all the way to the left. Hopefully that makes sense. This is a 3rd and 5 on the third drive, and I think this is a screen. Let's be harsh on our quarterback for a second. And I'm you guys know I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. Like, yeah, would you like to see us get this ball out to Drake? Yes. I feel like Drake's a little slow getting out here for real. I understand the screen is supposed to be a little bit of a delay. I feel like Drake is trying to sell this block to 28, who's blitzing off the edge. I feel like he's just got to slip out of there now. And I'm not too sure that even if we do catch the ball, let's say we've caught the ball already. Let's say Lamar has gotten rid of it a little earlier. Or excuse me, let's say Drake has gotten out of there a little earlier and Lamar didn't have to wait as long. I'm not too sure this defender's not going to beat us to the leverage side anyway. Drake could catch it and get up in here. So, that's not really my complaint. My complaint is this. Do we have a choice as a quarterback to throw either the screen to Drake over here or the screen over here where there is, I don't know if you noticed it or not, it's a 3-on-2 with a safety recovering. So you can call it 3-on-3 if you want to. That's fine. I got no problem with that. But it's an inside-out safety recovering. We've got to throw these a little more. Think about the Chargers last year and then the Bengals game thereafter. Remember what one of the Bengals touchdowns was on? It was the opposite direction. It was bunched to the right. And they faked the screen, and CJ Uzoma, I think, just runs up the bottom of the numbers for a touchdown. The week before, Chuck had jumped the screen against the Chargers. I made a great play on like a 3rd and 7. I made an unbelievable play, all right? So the Bengals put us in the same situation, faked the screen, ran a guy up the seam. Well, you can't fake the screen until you run the damn screen. That's my point. Is it possible that Lamar doesn't have the choice to throw it? Because we got numbers. Lamar has probably looked here and seen this guy and counted him pre-snap and then decided to come back over here not knowing that, this guy was going to blitz. Were we to be real harsh on Lamar right now? Me personally, I'm saying like throw this thing out here and let's play 3-on-2 or 3-on-3, whatever, however you want to say the count is. But I don't know whether he has that choice or not. I certainly hope he does. He should have earned that by now, if you ask me. And watching some of these pass plays, he certainly doesn't look to be bothered throwing the football. All right, a 2nd and 12. And this is a situation where I feel like maybe we could get the ball to Bateman in the middle. It's like a sticks wide delay concept. So Ricard is going to delay and then slip out. Okay, fine. He's a late option in the progression. One of the reasons that Lamar, I think, would be less inclined to throw this and I mean the ball would have to be out, all right? The ball would have to be out and fit somewhere in between the hashes, is because last year, multiple times, the Browns would drop down a safety from one side and then into the middle of the field and then roll the other guy to center field. And then the linebackers would do this split. Like they would actually kind of like take severe angles and split. And so the safety, typically it would be opposite Andrews, who is, lined up over here to the left. So typically it would be the safety opposite Andrews dropping down there. So that could be a reason why he's less inclined to throw this. If we were going to be harsh on Lamar, we would say, this is a ball we'd like to see thrown, but he's getting pressure off the left side right now. Well, why is that? Stanley's been playing well, so how does this happen? Stanley, I think, actually is fine here. Powers peels off helping and tries to help Stanley, and in my opinion, kind of actually knocks Stanley off balance, preventing Lamar from having a throwing platform. But even still, I think prior to Stanley being knocked off balance, it looks like Lamar is aware of the pressure that's coming off the left side against Stanley. It, I think is against Garrett, so fine. But again, maybe we could come back to this later on when we think we're catching them in this long yardage situation and they're playing zone, which they're obviously playing here instead of playing man-free. That's my concern is, if something doesn't work, like a route combination is there, and for whatever reason we don't see it, we've got pressure like Lamar had, or we're looking somewhere else in the progression, fine. Why aren't we coming back to these things? All right, unbelievable play, 3rd and 11, a gain of 26 to Bateman. Very similar to a route he ran last year against the Bengals. And this is one of those plays where people say Lamar doesn't throw anticipation throws. Yeah, there's 2 instances in our game from Sunday where I'd like to see him throw it in terms of anticipation. But he's waiting for this to develop by Bateman. He knows where Bateman's going to end up between the hash and the top of the numbers. He throws. This was a beautiful play. This was our 4th drive. 3rd and 11, backed up here. We get the first down. I think we go down and score there. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong on that. So you're getting clear out route here. You're getting Prochet running. It looks like they're going to do, two deep crossers, but it's not. He's kind of turning this into, I would say, a dig across the field. And again, you've got the 2 underneath, options late that are going to be obviously covered by the guys who are in zone and facing the quarterback and would see the ball thrown quickly. This is a great job. I think this is what Bateman can do, and Duvernay as well. Who knows? We might need Bateman and Duvernay to be exceptional on Thursday if Andrews, is in as bad a shape as some people make it sound like he is. All right. 12 personnel bunch. I love this formation with Likely in it. I'm not a huge fan of this formation with Ricard as the number 3. I'm not an anti-Ricard guy, but there are some limitations sometimes depending on where he's put. I'm a big fan of Likely and Andrews being in this formation. 2 big targets, and you can do all this. Like Likely running the over concept that Andrews usually runs and freeing Andrews up. Run a shallow drag, run a whip route, run up the seam, whatever. Basically, Likely taking Andrews' route, and Andrews having a little bit more freedom to do something else. This is a seam split, we would call it. Andrews is running like in between the top of the numbers and the hash. And the number 1 receiver, which I think is Duve, is kind of widening out. And then I think he checks this thing up. But it's very similar to a route you'll see here soon, which we've run for many years under Greg Roman, which is 2 tight ends, one of them running, up the hash, up the outside of the hash, and the other one getting to the bottom of the numbers. And you're reading like a safety. Or some cases a cover 3 corner. And in this case, Duvernay checks it up. So he checks it up. So it almost works out like a slot seam, and Likely is wide open, isolated on these guys. In my opinion, this is another example of us using Andrews' gravity a little bit to isolate someone. This guy's carrying Andrews. They've got a middle of the field safety here, fine. Now we're just one-on-one. Likely, I feel like, is going to win that matchup against against every inside linebacker they've got, including JOK. I mean, I feel like that's a great job of getting Likely open. Good, I'm all for it. All right, this is a scramble by Lamar. Watch this job that Justice Hill does in pass pro. That's KO. And Lamar's so funny. Again, personally, I feel like he's not 100%. But he's back here directing traffic. I think he's talking to Bateman, but I could be wrong, or I think he's signaling to Bateman. Maybe it's Oliver, I'm not sure. and then scrambles for 10. This was a killer. Now I'm going to talk about this route here in a moment. All right, this is that Y split. We hit this against the Colts in 2020. We hit this against Washington in 2020 for a touchdown. The one against the Colts was not a touchdown. We're basically splitting two verticals. Now, I think Oliver is reading middle of the field open, so he kind of drifts, this way, all right? Those arrows are not accurate in terms of where his route goes. Some people I saw on Twitter were like, hey, can't we throw this ball, back here? Think about the concept. First of all, I think Oliver is drifting into, let's be honest, he's drifting in towards the safety, like that guy right there. So that is a fact. All right, but I think he's reading middle of the field open, so that's where he's running his route. In my opinion, this is our Y split concept where one guy runs up the outside of the hash, the other guy is responsible for getting a little more width. It's not designed to attack a cover 3 safety, in my opinion. It's designed to attack, someone here. So in this case, it's a safety, a half field safety. If he expands with, guess who? Andrews, then we throw it to Oliver. Now, there's a second-level player who's kind of in the window, I should say. So credit this guy for doing a good job. In my opinion, yes, we could throw this football up over here on a particular, lofted angle and give Oliver a chance to catch the football. I think Lamar sees him moving in towards the safety and recognizes, I don't want to throw this football over here, dude. If anything, I've got to throw it on the backside. But again, this is, in my opinion, this is the read. So he's not going to throw it back towards the read. Once the read has committed to Andrews, you're not taught to throw it back towards the read to help that guy out. Let's just say the safety misread it. I don't think he did, but if he misread it, you're not going to help him out and throw it back over here to his side. If you're going to throw it anywhere, it's going to be, I guess that's the E in Ravens, and give Oliver a shot. Like I said, great job by Justice Hill, KOing that guy in pass pro. Lamar gets 10. Would I like to see that ball thrown to Oliver? Sure, absolutely I would. But I think the route's got to be run where it's supposed to be. This is after a sack. I think I got the wrong order of these plays for real. The first down sack is going to be shown here in a minute. This is not a 100% Mark Andrews. That's JOK covering him up in underneath zone. Like, there's no burst for Andrews at all. You see any burst? Even post-play. It's not like it really, this is not going to sound right. It's not like it really matters to him. It clearly does matter to him. My point is, Lamar just went and we just won a football game where we threw 16 times. And this guy doesn't look healthy to me at all. This guy is not 100% yet. Even his burst on that 26-yard catch that Bateman had, I don't think he looks completely healthy yet. That's just my opinion. You can have a different opinion. That's cool. All right, another sack. A middle sit by Prochet. That's the only thing that we have. And in my opinion, this is one of those situations where, now look, we got immediate pressure. All right, so, but this is one of those situations where if we have immediate pressure, that's what these two routes are here for, is to get rid of the football. It's very easy for me to say, like, hey, just throw it out to the flats, man. We're not going to get the first down generally from that. At least we get the ball out and we don't take a sack. We're waiting for something to develop, here or here. Prochet's the only guy that's available to us at all. I don't fault Lamar for either decision because, it's pressure right in his face. In my opinion, if I'm coaching him, which I've never coached quarterbacks before, I say, hey, man, you got pressure. Let's get the ball out here. Let these guys, catch the ball and get us 6, 8, 10 yards. Maybe break a tackle. Who knows? And you don't take a hit and take a sack. That's how I would try to sell it to that superhuman athlete like Lamar Jackson, who's been able to break tackles and escape pressure, his whole career. All right, so this is one that I've seen multiple people talk about. I'm not going to really belabor the point about, whether we can throw the ball to Gus Edwards out here. We can. That's just a fact. I can't remember who the guy is. He did a great job, I thought, of covering what this corner does in kind of like this delayed read blitz. I don't think it's a design blitz. He just sees there's nobody blocking him, and he goes. So good for him. Great play by him. Sometimes the defense makes a great play. My point isn't, first of all, and Bateman does a nice job getting open late. It's just too late given that there's pressure, right? You can see him getting separation, and then now he's really got separation. But I think the route's too deep. I think that's pretty obvious. Here's my real problem. It's one back under center. And I haven't done this video yet. I keep saying I need to do this video. If you're still listening, One back under center is play action pass. Almost every time, it's play action pass. So I don't know how it's possible that guys aren't identifying that. It looks like one of these guys is, and one of these guys is not. One guy's up at the line of scrimmage. They even both kind of go for the play fake. I just can't believe it. It's one back under center. I don't have us with a single run play with one running back in the backfield and us under center all year long. Now I have to go back in the database and check. I need to create that video before Thursday. So my point isn't about Edwards. Yes, we can throw the ball to him. Fine, whatever. About this route, Lamar, throw the anticipation throw before you get hit by the corner. Whatever. I don't care. My point is we're predictable in this formation. Y'all don't talk about formations enough. I'm going to be a little bit of a tyrant here. You talk about personnel. You talk about play calls. The formation tells you the damn concept. It tells you it's play action pass. And if you're an NFL defense and you don't know this at this time, I don't know what they spend their time doing. And I'm ranting about this now because this is like the 6th time that I have said this. If it's one back under center, it's play action pass for us. That's my real complaint. Lamar, you throw it to Gus Edwards late. Okay, fine, good, yes. That needs to happen sometimes. I don't care about that. The point is we can't be predictable and then be surprised that the play action piece doesn't work. All right, a 3rd and 7, a clear defensive pass interference. I knew they were playing man here during the game, but there were so many, and I like the throw by Lamar. Is it maybe a yard or two too long? Fine, but he's getting rid of it, and if Andrews isn't held, he's got a great chance to go get this thing, I think. So I like the fact that we're giving our guy a chance to make a play. We do have Bateman open down here as well. I'm not talking about Lamar, so don't get triggered, because some of y'all get triggered when people bring things up about Lamar, like grow up. I'm saying Bateman is getting open, so that's a good thing, all right? That's what I'm saying. I feel like I need to spell it out for some people. Andrews clearly getting, they didn't call DPI, actually. They just called a hold. That's actually pass interference. Like, it is a hold as well. So they gave us 5 yards. Fine, gave us a new set of downs. I thought this was an amazing play by Lamar. Nearly an amazing play by Oliver. Ball's in his hands. Lamar delivered it with pressure in his face. Look, he's getting hit right now. The defender makes a play on the ball and we drop it. But pay attention to Lamar's, we'll talk about a couple things, but pay attention to Lamar's helmet. All right, so you got Ricard winning motion to the left. Him and Edwards are helping off this edge. Fine, okay? Lamar's looking here, now, in the middle of the field. Andrews, it looks like, is running this whip route or China out. Lamar's tracking Oliver, starts to move, and then throws it. Well, where's he throwing it? Oliver doesn't have the guy beat this way. That's what, if you ask me, gives us a chance in every game that Lamar suits up in, is that he throws the ball over here. Very similar to a throw I just saw on Twitter that Joe Burrow made to Boyd his rookie year, except it was in the middle of the field. It wasn't in the end zone, but he was understanding what the receiver was going to do. So this means Lamar and Oliver have worked together a lot. We know they have, all right? And this gives me faith, all right? Number one, this is Josh Oliver. It's not Mark Andrews. It's not Rashad Bateman. It's not Lamar keeping it and scrambling him. So all that stuff about, does Lamar trust his receivers? Is it he knows his receivers ain't no good? Get out of here, man. Like, grow up. That's elementary school takes. Lamar just threw the ball to Josh Oliver, who a lot of people didn't even think was gonna make the team coming out of training camp. And here he is throwing the ball to him on a 2nd and 5 in a tough division game while he's getting hit. He trusts his guys, man. Like, get over that. I love the fact that he gave Josh Oliver a chance to make the play. Do I wish Oliver made the play? Of course I do. I mistakenly thought Bateman was in the slot here. He was not. I really thought he was in the end zone, but clearly he wasn't on the replay. Lamar's throwing this ball a little low intentionally, guys. He does that a lot. He's throwing it a little low to protect Bateman from, any second-level collision. And then he's just trying to give Bateman the best chance to catch it, protect himself, and then give him a chance to get in the end zone. Unfortunately, we're not able to make that happen. This has got to happen more often for Bateman, for real. Run the slant. I mean, I've shown you the routes 2 plays ago. I talked about him being open on that kind of deeper speed out, right? The sack when the corner, I think Emerson got him. Bateman ran, I think the route was a little too deep, but it came back, a lot of separation, he was open. The third down, he had a 26-yard catch, he was open. The one that some people call a drop, I don't know if it's a drop or not, late in the game, I was on a 3rd and 9, probably be short of the first down anyway, he was open. So Bateman's getting open. I think our passing game will improve, I do. I think it'll improve because we have Lamar Jackson, for real. This will be the last play that I talk about. I was shocked by this call. I know you were, and the Browns for sure were as well. Screen to Ricard, 19 yards. Cool job, if you ask me, by 2 or 3 of our linemen getting out there. I saw a tweet post on Twitter talking about Prochet's route. Why isn't Prochet running to get open in the middle of the field? It's a clear out route. It's a screen. He's trying to push the DBs downfield, He's trying to push these guys downfield to create more space in here to isolate, the second-level defenders, or in this case, second-level defender, to let Ricard go ahead and work. It's a great call. To the boundary, away from the nickel defender. I'd like to see us run this with Likely. Even Josh Oliver, to be honest with you, when I say away from the nickel defender, there's the 5th DB, I think. Just so you know, the Browns were playing nickel against our 21. It's a lot of people. Now, when we went 22, they brought in a 3rd inside linebacker. In this case, they got JOK off. All right, they pull him off in a lot of passing situations, just so you know. When we're 21, so we got a running back and we've got a fullback, they're matching up with nickel. So you got a corner, a safety, another safety, and then this is their nickel. All right, so they're in a 4-2-5 personnel, just your basic nickel. They're doing that against our 21 personnel. They were doing that all game. They played a nickel against our 21. So we didn't blow them away with the run game against their nickel, which is kind of like their base, to be honest with you. They're very similar to the Bills. Great play call, down here to the boundary. Let me know what you think. Is our passing game that terrible? No. Could we have thrown more? Yes. Are there other guys open? Yes. Is there one instance of maybe Lamar, maybe 2, of Lamar, hey, throw the check down? Yes. Is there times where the check down looks like it's open and there's pressure in Lamar's face immediately? Absolutely. 4 or 5 or 6 times, okay, guys? So when you hear someone say, throw the check down, that doesn't mean every single play. Don't be so absolutist, or whatever the word is. Don't be so stark. Either everything is all the way this way or all the way in the opposite direction. There's gradients and there's factors to each play. And in my opinion, we were inconsistent overall. Starting with Lamar, and then our offensive line, for real. Starting with our offensive line, not starting with Lamar. Starting with our offensive line, we were inconsistent. That's the main group I would say was inconsistent. And then, our ability to get open, are we getting open? Yes. We have plenty of times when we're open. But the progression, the read progression might be to the other side. Now, so let's move that a step forward from just a basic surface level conversation I see a lot of, which is our receivers don't get open. And then somebody says, yes, they do. Well, where do you go from there? All right, so let's do this. When our receivers do get open on a particular concept, why aren't we coming back to that concept? Let's move the conversation in a positive direction. Why don't we come back to that concept? Or do we come back to that concept? Do we actually recognize, okay, that guy was open on this particular concept on a 2nd and 12? Let's come back to it. I think we did twice in this game. Was it enough for me? No, it was not. I would like to see us do it more often. Do we need to be in certain personnel groups to pass the ball more effectively? Probably sometimes. Do we need to throw the ball on first down some more? Yeah, I've been saying that all year. That's been the one thing I want to see. This was not the Giants game where we're running the ball down the defense's throat. Like, that's crazy, right? The Giants have only given up more than 20 points once in 7 games. So points per game wise, they're pretty damn good. We ran the ball down their throat, 8.8 yards a carry. The Browns are nowhere near that quality in terms of statistics. And we did not have as much success running the ball on them. And in fact, if it wasn't for Gus's ability to break tackles, an average running back, let me do it that way. An average NFL running back is a badass, okay? But an average running back is probably 16 carries for 50, 52 yards. Gus is 16 for 66. And if we block things better, Gus is probably 16 for 82 or 16 for 85. You get what I'm saying? We were inconsistent across multiple levels. Does that include our coaches? Of course it does. Absolutely. There's times where, we are calling a play for a coverage that they're not playing. We're calling a cover 2 beater and it's man. And then there's also times where we have the right call and Lamar is reading something on the other side. And I think there do have to be times where we going away from Andrews being the primary read. Maybe Andrews is part of the progression, but we got other guys who can produce. You saw the first catch by Duvernay. You saw the huge third down catch by Bateman. Those guys need more targets, period. Whether that's our coaches calling the plays or Lamar choosing to throw to him, I don't know. I don't know that. I just know it needs to happen more. So let's say it's the coaches and Lamar. We'll cover all our bases. Let's get the ball to Duvernay and Bateman more when they're on the field and they're healthy. And I put Likely there as well. I'd say get the ball to Likely more. Let me know what you think of that. I think he's talented. He only had one catch in this game, or did he have two? I thought it was a big catch, like 17 yards. Appreciate you guys checking this video out. It wasn't meant to be summative. Lamar played bad against the Browns. Lamar played great against the Browns. No, it's just meant to look at the passing attack, look at the fact that the Browns played a little bit more man than maybe we thought they would. Certainly, then the broadcast didn't tell me that they were playing man, at least the views that we had, other than the DPI or the hold on Delpit against Andrews. That they showed that replay, so you could tell. Appreciate you guys checking the video out. I recorded this one Tuesday night. Had to upload it Wednesday because of my internet speed. I'll be putting out a video on Kyle Hamilton later this afternoon for you guys to check out. If you got any other video requests prior to the game against the Bucs, let me know. We'll be putting out a video on the under center 1-back and under center 2-back stuff on Thursday for Ravens fans and even Bucs fans to check out if they wish. Appreciate you guys' time.